Hey y'all, this is Chris Johnson at Living Waters Fly Fishing. We are doing another online fly tying tutorial. Today is one that I'm not sure we've ever done this one actually anywhere at any time. We might have done it for a fly tying night here at the store, but this is the Crafty Shad. It's a pattern of mine that I use. It's really one of my go-to big bass streamer patterns, and it is like overkill on motion and profile and movement in the water. Not that complicated to tie, a lot of steps, but not that complicated to tie. Material wise, I'm using kind of a hodgepodge of colors. You can do this in whatever color you want. I've tied these in like a lavender shad type color. I've done them in, sexy shad. I've done them in just straight, olive over white. I've done them tan over white. You can do whatever you want. So today I'm just gonna kind of mix up a bunch of craft fur colors just to show you how they all kind of blend together. So to start off, I'm going to be using nano silk and 100 denier. So this is a 100 denier gel spun, and that's going to be on a Gamakatsu B10S and a 1/0. So pretty hefty iron. So we've got a pretty solid hook here. We're going to start about midways back. So we're just going to go midways on the hook shank, trim that off, make sure your ends are clear, and we are off to the races. Step one, and you're going to see a lot of this, so just be aware this step is going to be repeated multiple times. When you're trimming craft fur, get you a little bunch here, kind of clump that together. All I'm going to do is come in here with the scissors, trim that away from the skin. I am literally going to repeat this process, I don't even remember how many times in this fly, but all this stuff right here, that's under fur, we do not want it. It leaves, it goes away. I do not want it for any reason. Take this guy, we're going to tie it in just about right here. So just tie that clump of craft fur in. You can see the overall length of the fly is slightly more than 2 hook shanks long. Trim that off. Tie down firmly. That's why we are using 100 denier GSP. All right, I'm going to add flash later in the fly. If you want to put like a pearlescent Flashabou or anything like that right here, totally fine, totally legal. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this in a couple different steps here. So here we're gonna add more white craft fur. Under fur is gone. I'm gonna add the next bunch right here. Same story. Tie that down nice and firm. My bodkin's trying to run away from me. Tie that down firm. Get rid of any strays. All's well. Keeping in mind we're going to cover our tracks pretty good here in just a second. All right. Very next step, we're going to start blending Flashabou colors. So what I'm going to do before I move to the tan, I'm going to add some flash. This is called Sybai's Ghost Flash, and this stuff is really cool. It comes on a hank. I'm just going to take a pretty good hunk of this and put that right here. And it's not a super gaudy flash, which is one of the things I like about it. It's, a little bit more, it blends incredibly well with just about any kind of material. But then you just stroke that up. I mean, you can just look at that, builds body and blends so well. That's all I want right there. I'm gonna jump this gel spun up there. It's gonna take me a couple of times to make that ramp up, and there we go. We're all good. Tie that down nice and firm, make that little transition. We are good. We've added a nice little bunch of flash in there. I'm going to simply come with my scissors in here, just kind of move them back and forth, and that'll make that nice tapered body that we're after. Step next, we're going to add some tan craft fur. I'm probably just going to do a bunch of each here. So one little bunch of tan craft fur. Pull the under fur out, same story. Stack it right on top. It comes by its name honestly. The Crafty Shad is pretty much entirely craft fur. If you will notice, as we start adding this, it's going to make the fly fairly flat in its profile. That is exactly what I'm after. I want that. I'm really okay with that. Okay, next one, I'm gonna add some of this kind of peach colored craft fur right on top of that. And I'm just gonna blend a bunch of colors. So, I mean, there's really no rhyme or reason to this. You can tie this in whatever color you want. It just looks so good when it's done. Take that little bunch, doesn't have to be much, throw that under fur away. Take that, we're gonna tie that in right on top of this. And if you want, you can just simply take that and do the same thing, kind of ramp back up that as well. Tie it down firmly, stroke everything up, trim any of this stuff off, keeping in mind we are going to do a Senyo's laser dub head when this is all said and done, so I don't really have to worry about being too orderly here. I just want everything tight. All is well. That's what I'm after. All right, I'm gonna add my next flash, which is just an olive Flashabou. So pretty just, this isn't a super gaudy flash yet again. I don't want to be overkill on it. It's flashy, but it's not like, you know, I don't want this thing to be a disco ball down there. I want it to, you know, look like a baitfish. But here what I'm gonna do, this is going to get shrouded by other materials here in just a minute. I'm gonna add some of this on one side. So I've tied this kind of on my side. I'm gonna fold this section over. I'm gonna see if I can show you this on camera. Let me get this tied in nice. This is on this side. I'm gonna fold this other side over to kind of make a V like that. And that's gonna show up on the opposite side of the fly like so. So if we did it right, it kind of shrouds the entire upper section of the fly about like so. Got a couple of shorts in there. I'm not really worried about it, but I'll take a few of them out just because it makes me feel better inside. He's kind of intermingled in with some of my others. Here we go. All right. Next step is going to be some chartreuse, and then we'll end on olive. I'm gonna take a little bit of chartreuse, not much. We don't, like I said, we don't want this thing to pop too much. Little chartreuse craft fur, take a little clump, stroke all that underfur out. We're gonna add that right on top, just like so. Do a little gathering wrap with the thread there. Pull that down nice and tight. You can tell you're tying Veevus on a Tiemco bobbin when you get that squeak. And last step here is going to be olive. And we might do 2 bunches of this. We'll see how it shakes out. Pretty healthy bunch. Pull out all that underfur. We don't want it. Yep, that's perfect. And it's okay if it's a little shorter than the other. I'm actually all right with that, simply because at the end of the day, we are going to be tapering this into the head. So I'm all right with that. That looks nice, just like so. Now we got that nice blend of colors. Come in here, trim any of this stuff off. Again, if you got a couple of strays, you are not going to see them at all here in just a few seconds. The final portion of this fly, now that we've added all the craft fur and everything like that, we've mixed flash in with it, so we've got a little smattering of flash, we got that white underneath and the whole 9 yards. I'm gonna back this all the way up. So right where that top craft fur is, flip this fly over. You'll notice we didn't tie any craft fur on the bottom of the hook. That's where I'm gonna start with the laser dub on the bottom. So this is Senyo's laser dub in a white. You can also, for this fly, I can go back and forth. You can also use the bruiser blend from Flyfish Food. It's also a really good material for this fly. So Senyo's laser dub, bruiser blend, either one works. I'm gonna try to kind of mash this together, make it a little bit more lengthy, kind of align all the fibers, and that's more or less what we're looking for there. Pull a little bit of that out, a little too much there. But that's what we want right there, because that's gonna basically make the belly of this fly. So come in there, good tie-in point, do like so, flip her over. At which point, I'm gonna come in here with some olive. Let's do this. This is a bruiser blend in an olive brown. Again, you can do this in any color. My general rule of thumb is doing it where the darker color is gonna be on the back, lighter color on the belly. No different than in nature. So you're just trying to imitate, that's all. Just like so. Make sure that's on top, that's on bottom. Stroke this back, and then here's the trick. To migrate forward, pull both bunches back, make a few wraps in front. I'm gonna wrap right up against that. Our next bunch is gonna go there. And this is where it's really nice to have a dubbing brush. So if you have a dubbing brush, this is real great to kind of comb through this, Use the big side if you need to and kind of stroke that out. Make sure everything's doing what it needs to. That's looking nice, just getting that nice little belly on there. And that's step one, because we're gonna have a lot more of that where we're doing this. It just makes this nice baitfish head, very beefy profile. That's what we're after. We're gonna add another bunch of olive on top. Get those fibers to kind of align, stack them on top of one another. Just like so. And we'll come in here, add a little bit more of the white with that Senyos. And here what we want to do is anywhere in that gap, we just don't want to try to not catch the olive if at all possible. So try not to get in there and do that, but pull that, get the thread clear, stroke both back, make a few wraps. Pull tight. Now you'll see we're starting to form a head with these bunches. That's exactly what we're wanting to do. I'm going to repeat this process probably one more time, add a couple of accent colors, and we are good to go. One thing you can do here, and I'm actually a pretty big advocate of this, I like putting in like a color accent in the cheek. So I'm going to take a couple of clumps of this bruiser blend and a pale lemon. I think this looks really good when this goes correctly. Turn the fly on its side, add a bunch right here, do a gathering wrap, and catch it on the side. And if you'll look, that's what that does. It fills in that blank space, looks really good, and builds up the cheek of the fly ever so slightly, and it just looks awesome. Kind of covers your tracks a little bit, and it adds to the profile of the fly. So kind of get your patch all together, align the fibers, put that pinch right there, do a little gathering wrap, stroke rearwards. Once you've done so, just wrap back on it. And it may take you a second, don't catch your other one. This thing needs to be sweet to me. Now we're starting to kind of get close to the hook eye, which is no problem. We still got tons of room. But now we've got two cheeks tied into this baitfish that have those little accent colors that when we brush all that together, it's going to look amazing. Cord your thread up if it starts kind of splitting on you, no big deal there. And all we're going to do is finish this out. I'm going to use a little bit of this silver minnow belly. I like that because it has a little bit more flash in it. I'm going to put a little bit of that in the throat here. I really love this color a lot. So come in with a gathering wrap. You can literally just take that. It goes right under the hook eye, just like so. I'm going to come back in with that brown olive in that bruiser blend. Same story, right on top. Capture it, make a couple securing wraps. Once you have done so, fold it back, move up, fold the other back. And once you've done so, make a bunch of wraps right behind the hook eye and pull. So make a bunch and pull. We're using gel spun, so we shouldn't have any breakage problems, shouldn't being the operative word. Once you've done that, that head is now jammed together and looks nice and neat. That's what we're after. Somewhere under all this craft fur is a whip finisher. And that whip finisher is right here. We're going to just take this, throw a couple of turns on there, and that would be ready for a drop of head cement or anything of the sort that you want to throw on there. I normally, on flies like this, they are big game flies. I do like having a couple and pulling nice and tight. There we go. We have all that dubbing and all that craft fur making this incredibly good looking streamer. It's going to taper out pretty nicely, but the next step we want to do is actually brush this thing out. So really tease all this stuff out. Just like that. That's exactly what we want. That looks amazing. This is why I'm not a fish. I would be the village idiot. I would eat every single fly that came my way. There's no two ways about it. I think flies are so good looking. I probably think flies are better looking than the fish do most of the time. So all we're going to do here is come in here with our scissors. Any of the extra long flash fibers, I'm going to trim those kind of intermittently at different lengths. I don't want them to all be the same length because I don't want like a hard edge on that back side. But you'll notice when we roll this together, that looks just about right. That's what we want. Final step before total conclusion is we're going to add some stick-on eyes. These are just round epoxy stick-on eyes. All I do to secure these, you can do this however you want. I'm going to take Zap Gel. So the actual gel of the glue here, this stuff, it does stick to everything, just heads up. But I'm going to take a bodkin that I don't really use for any like thread splitting stuff. This is a glue bodkin. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to actually pull this guy open, unscrew the big cap here. I'm going to pull an eye and then pull another eye and get those staged and ready. And, you know, depending on what size fly you're using will determine what size eye you want to use. I'm going to get a little bit of that glue on there, so that gel glue. See, I've got that on the back of the bodkin there. That's all I need. This is where one must be exceptionally careful. We're going to take that and apply that to the back of the eye, just like so. I'm a big proponent of sticking these eyes as far forward as they'll go. If you don't want them to stick to your fingers, because that glue will come out from under the eye a little bit, lick your finger. I know it's kind of nasty, but do that and press down. That glue has a really hard time adhering to something that is wet. It does a lot better job. Like if you've got dry skin or your fingertips are dry, it'll just latch onto that and you ruin your eye work. The other thing you can do is if you have like your dubbing brush, for instance, you can use that to actually take it, get over the eye and push down. These are stout hooks, so whatever you need to do to make sure that that eye really sinks into that material, that's what we're after, because we want that real big, beefy eye on that side. So same process on the other side. Gonna add some gel on that back side. I need a little bit more. This is risky business right here. A little bit more glue. Applying it to the eye very carefully, and hopefully, if I do this well, not to my fingers. This is definitely the trickiest part of the whole mess. So we're not probably gonna use all the glue that we pulled out. Stick the eyes as far forward on the fly as you can get them. I lick my fingertips before I press, that way that any glue that comes out from under the eye doesn't stick on me. Take the back of that dubbing brush or anything other like that, and you can mash that eye flat. That keeps it from gluing to your finger. And that gel will get all in that material, and what you wind up with is that right there. And that is a finished Crafty Shad. You can put shad spots with a permanent marker or anything like that that you want. This thing moves like mad in the water. This is not a small fly. This is meant to move a lot of water. It's meant to actually catch some really, really big bass. I love this fly. It just, this whole back end, it doesn't foul. It really stays true. This thing moves some water because that head is really nice and bulky. But since it does have a little bit of a flatter profile, which you can see here, when you strip it on a loop knot, a lot of times that flat profile will catch and cause the fly to dart side to side, making this just a wonderful baitfish imitation for anything that's, you know, larger and predatory. Striper, bass, you can go take this down to the jungle in a couple different colors and sizes, you'll be fine. So that's kind of my take on big bass streamers. I love this thing. Not complicated to tie, just involves a lot of steps. So tie a few of these, slap them in the box, throw them on the, and you can downsize them too. I forgot to mention that. You can actually take this and downsize them to whatever you want, down to like a size 6, size 4, anything like this. This is a 1/0, but if you scale these down, they do an amazing job even in creeks and streams. So this thing has caught plenty of wonderful bass for me over the years, and I'm happy to share it with you today. So thank you so much for watching. Anything we can help you with as a shop, let us know, and we'll see you in the, on the water or in the shop sometime soon. Always, if you have any questions, just give us a call. Thanks again for watching, and take care.